Hello, welcome back. So, those of you who now have gotten contracts and this is your first year as a teacher, I want to say congratulations to you. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is go over some do's and don'ts. Also, if those of you who are not starting your teaching career yet, you can listen in also. And those that are veterans, you can listen in as well. Or those who are about to get their contract and still going on interviews, this is for you too. All right, but those that got contracts, this is what you should do. Excuse me a minute. All right, so here's some do's and don'ts. Let's go over some do's. What you want to do as a first year teacher is, build a positive relationship with your students. Okay, contact parents and don't always contact when things are wrong. You should contact them when things are right. Give good phone calls. You want to have incentives in your class, such as a no homework work day, pizza party, perhaps a lunch with the teacher. That'll be an incentive. Good phone call home, or if your administration team allows it, maybe like a gym day. You can have that. So just have incentives. Don't just have just the discipline side like warnings and verbal chats and after school detentions. Those are important, but let's also focus on incentives as well. You want to sit in on veteran teachers' classrooms, get observations. Also, you want to have lunch with the students. Go down and have lunch with them and talk to them. See what's going on. Okay, now if you're in a small town area or small suburban area, if they're having a cultural event, go to the event. If it's on Saturday, you may run into some of the students there. Let the kids see you out there. Also, go to some of the students' sporting events or chess club matches, or if they're in a musical or play, go see the kids. Spend a Thursday or Friday night or Saturday night with them at the school. You know, go to some of the events of the students. If they see you out there, they know they have a teacher that's in their corner and supporting them. Okay, like I said, go visit some veteran teachers. Also, on your prep times, go watch certain videos on instructional engagement. You know, on classroom management as well. Watch these so you get ideas. Now, also, before you teach the lesson, review the lesson. Even if you know it, review it because it might be something that excuse me, you may be missing. Okay, and if you get stuck, talk to a fellow team member and see how they do it. To help you get over that, or talk to your head of your English department, or talk to your mentor because you're going to get a mentor. That's another thing. Build a great rapport with your mentor. Also, and if push comes to shove, you may be able to talk to one of the principals who is an expert in that particular field that you're studying. What's another do you should do? If if you're contracted to come in at 8 o'clock, be there at 7:30. If you're contracted to be there at 7:30, come in at 7 o'clock. At least come in a half hour. Now, if you're contracted to leave at 3:30, stay to 4. Come in early, leave late, like your first couple years. The administration, that looks good. That shows that you're dedicated and you're committed. Okay? I recommend that. What else do I recommend? Getting along with your coworkers and your team, members of your team, and you know also be of use to them. Offer some things to them. Like you might want to run copies for your team leader if they're in a meeting. Help out. Try to help out as much as you can. Trying to think of another do that you should do. Um, I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, get to know the cleaning staff. Okay, get to know them, befriend them. Try to get to know different team leaders on each of the teams in school. Learn the names of all the teachers in your building. Okay, And when you're making phone calls, keep a phone log, even if you have it on your cell phone. Excuse me, I'm over a little cold, but keep a phone log. Also, anything that was said to you, keep a note of it. Anything a parent has said to you or a student, keep a note of it. Always, you want to have a paper trail, like my mother always said. Keep a paper trail. So that's a good thing. Also, with that, just keep your options open. That's the do's. Now it's time for the don'ts. Do not, and I repeat, do not befriend any of your students or the parents of the students on social media. You understand me? Don't do it. If a student requests you as a friend, deny them and talk to them later about it and explain why. But that's not appropriate. You understand? Because it could cause you a lot of problems later on. Okay? And if you're really not a public person, you're a private person in your private life, stay off of social media if you're going to do that. Okay? Just stay off of it because it could cause problems. And do not befriend your supervisors on social media either until after you leave. Now, if your students graduated, let's say you're a high school teacher and they graduated from there, then you can befriend them. Okay? And the same thing goes if you don't work at that school anymore and the kids has graduated and you still want to stay in touch with some of the teachers and the administrators, that's when you befriend them. But watch what you say on those social media sites. Okay? Watch what you say. Watch what you do. Another thing, do not gossip in the school. Matter of fact, stay out of the teacher's lounge if you can help it. I mean, if you're going to go in there, eat your lunch and leave. Also, make some Xerox copies and then leave. If the copy machine is in there, leave. Because that's the hotbed of gossip. Watch what you say to these students. Watch what you say to these teachers. Because let me tell you something. All schools have ears. The walls in the schools, they all have ears. And it will get back to the person that you're talking about. Okay? Now, let me give you an example. I worked at one school several years ago, and we shared a campus with another school. And one of my coworkers had made a decision to talk bad about one of our administrators. Now, mind you, our administrator was very well loved in that district and throughout the state that I was teaching in. And I'm going to say it was a woman. She was very involved for 30 years. She's a 30-year veteran at that time. And that person decided to badmouth her. And the people at the other school was offended because we shared a copy room together. And it got back to my administrator. And that person has been on her feces list, if you will, for a long time. She ended up on death row. Okay, and it was a female. I didn't put it out. This female decided to talk bad about her. And needless to say, she was let go. Not because of that, but among other things. Okay? Do not, I repeat, do not date the parents of your students. Don't do that. Okay? And speaking of dating, don't date nobody in your department or in your school. Now, if you're going to date, make sure you do not work at the school. If you're going to date another teacher, make sure they work in different school buildings, okay, in the district. Okay, don't date anybody. Now, if you're going to date someone in your school and y'all be in love. Make sure you're on different sides of the building, and the only time you see each other is at a faculty meeting. Okay, because the problem is, let's say if I date somebody in my department and we break up, there's still that tension there, and it could cause problems. Okay, don't date your administrators. Okay, don't do that, because the problem is it could cause resentment and jealousy, rumors and innuendo and all kinds of stuff. Okay, you don't do that. What's another thing? If you're a male, and I'm talking to the males, black and white, and Hispanic, Asian, and other indigenous cultures, don't go to happy hour. Straight up. Do not go to happy hour with these female teachers of yours where they're serving alcohol. Now, if they're not serving alcohol, okay, that's fine. But don't go on those ski trips with them. Don't go on no outings where they're serving alcohol. Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, unless you guys are very secretive and the school doesn't know, nobody knows, that's different. If you don't run your mouth, but see, alcohol, they have a saying: a drunken tongue speaks sober words. Okay, so what I'm telling you guys is don't do that. Okay, and do not hug your students. If you're going to hug, put your hands all the way up and give them a side hug or a fist bump or a handshake. Okay, because a lot of these parents out here are extremely, extremely protective of their kids. And because I got friends that got daughters, and if they seen you hugging them, they be like, "Yo, what you doing hugging my daughter?" And they will flip out. Okay, they'll go to the principal. You got to do a whole bunch of explaining, and you might have to have your union rep if you're in the union school. Be there, and you get pulled on the carpet, then it's a big mess. It's a big mess. Another thing, do not bring your personal laptop to school, because if you do, and you're using it with your class, with your students, they might see something that you didn't want them to see, and now they're running around exaggerating the story. I knew this one guy, he was a teacher. He brought his computer in. He was doing his presentations with the class because the school never issued him a computer or anything. And he accidentally showed a picture of a woman in a bikini, and he tried to do some damage control. And one of the kids went home that was mad at him, and that student, not he, but they went and told the parent a lie, that the student showed them pictures of women naked and showed porn. And it got back to the principal, and the principal called the police. They investigated this teacher's computer, and they were asking a bunch of questions. And it was just straight embarrassing for the teacher. And it turned out it wasn't true. Also, do the right thing. Do not insult children, even if you're playing, because one of them might get mad at you and turn around and throw you under the bus. Meaning, they'll go back and tell the principal, and they'll even record you secretly doing it. And you can lose your job, and you can get written up. It'll be a problem. So watch how you deal, especially now. This is the thing. If you're a middle school teacher, you need to really be careful around those students. Those are the ones studies have shown with the worst behaviors. Elementary, middle school. High school, you kind of can let your guard down a little bit. In high school, but still be cautious. Okay, you got to be very careful, especially when you're a male and you're a black male in those schools. You got to watch yourself. Okay, and make sure keep your distance away from those girls. I know some of them girls, they develop, their hormones are developing, things. They develop little crushes on their teachers. Keep your distance from them. Okay. Now, if they try to come on to you gently, don't attack them. Just tell them no gently, and then go involve a counselor. Go talk to somebody you can trust to tell them to help you get them to stop, being inappropriate towards you. Okay? I'm not going into detail. You know what, you guys are adults. You know what I'm talking about. Now, if you're in public at the movies, let's say you're going to the movies or you're at a concert and you see one of your students, don't, even if it's one of your favorite students, we all have our favorites, we have biases. Okay? Don't sit by them. Do not sit by your kids in public events unless their parents are there. Now, if their parents is there, you'll be fine. But here's what could happen. If you sit next to them, they can go back and tell that, yeah, they would, let's say Mr. Smith was sitting next to me. Somebody will go spread a rumor, oh, Mr. Smith I'm going to make up her name, Kate. He took Kate to the movies and they went on a date, and they'll totally twist because, kids love spreading rumors and exaggerating. So you have to be careful with that. What's another thing I recommend you don't do? You don't do. Okay? If you are dating someone in the district, do not get intimate in the schools. Okay? You go to your private home or a hotel or whatever, but if you're adults, you know better. Why would you get intimate? And I've ran across colleagues that told me stories about that. You don't do that. Because number one, you're going to lose your job. Number two, it's going to be harder for you to get another job working in schools. It's not appropriate. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now, another thing, and this is a do. Okay, the main component, there's 4 components in general when they evaluate you as a teacher. When you're a new teacher, you will get evaluated usually 4 times a year at the beginning of around the school year. Then there's another formal observation, like around December, okay, like near the end before the New Year's season. Then there's another one. You have one in the spring and then the one near the end. Okay, you'll have 4 observations. Then there's some informal observations. Now, okay, the main things most principals are looking at, or assistant principals, is your instructional engagement and your classroom environment. Now, component 1 is usually planning, lesson planning, and the objective has to meet the standard. And what do you plan on teaching? Then, that's important too. Don't get me wrong. And then there's number 2, instructional engagement. Okay, or it could be classroom environment depending on the district. I'm just going to say for our intents and purposes, instructional environment, instructional engagement. Okay, structural engagement. Are the kids involved? Are the majority of the class participating? They're not on their phones. They're not being disruptive. They're involved with what you're teaching. And you're giving them the knowledge back, the correct information. Okay? Then there's classroom environment. Are the kids being noisy? Are they talking while you're teaching? Are they respecting you? Are they listening? Are you handling your discipline systems? Okay? Your consequences and your rewards. Okay? Is everything displayed up? Okay? Because they just want the students to be listening and being well behaved. Okay? All right? So that's that. Component 4 is professional responsibilities. Like maybe you're required to go to team meetings every week on time, call parents. Some places they want you to call and record the calls during certain prep times that you may have. Going to professional development, participating in that. Taking classes so you can, get better in the practice, because there's always room for improvement. Even with me having over a dozen years of experience, I still go to professional development. There's things I still don't know. Some things, teaching is an ongoing thing. And every year, each year, the students are different. There's different personalities. There's different things to do, different ways to approach the curriculum. And there may be new curriculum involved. So that's what those components are about. But really, 2 and 3 is where they really focus on really good. That's where it makes and break you. Now, some places, and once you are in there for 3 years and you get tenure, you won't get observer. I know in the district I'm in, I'm in my 4th year at that district. I'm not observed this year, nor will I be observed next year. But on my 6th year there, they'll observe me, and then 3 years later, they're going to observe me again where I get formal observations. Okay? Don't worry. If you get like ones is very bad, that's low. 2s is developing, 3 is proficient, and 4 is excellent. So, but if you get like some 1s and 2s, don't feel bad about it. Just work on it. Work with your mentor to move certain goals over, like having students more engaged. That could go over to 3, and make sure some 2s can go over to 3, and 1s can go to maybe 2. Take your time with it. Now, if you're constantly getting 1s, you're going to get put on a professional improvement plan. In other words, professional improvement plan in most districts does not mean they're going to keep you. They're trying to get rid of you. You could be fired. That's how bad that person is. Now, I understand some principals might want to evaluate you like in the afternoon when the kids or when you have the most challenges and they unfairly evaluate you. I get it. And I feel that's not fair. They should just evaluate you on the ones that's most engaged with you. Like maybe your morning or your mid. It depends on the school too. Now, if you get put on a professional improvement plan, work with your mentor, work with a district mentor, and really try to, do the things you need to do to save your job. Okay? Now, if there's no hope in that, don't quit. Don't give up on the teaching career. Go somewhere else. You go to another district. That district may be a whole lot better than the district you're in, and maybe it was meant for you to go. Okay? Not every school is good. There's some schools I will not work at, because I know my personality and the principal may not match. And there's some principals that may have a vendetta against me and try to get me out and mess my career up. No, you don't want that. Okay? Also, this is another don't. You're a male or female. Don't divulge personal information to these people. If you hearing people saying some sexual harassment stuff, don't get involved. Don't chime in on that. Even if they're joking around, don't say. Now, if they say something to you that's inappropriate and you feel uncomfortable, talk to your principal about it. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your principal, contact human resources of your district. Okay? Because you have no right to be subject to sexual harassment. Okay? Another don't. Don't invite your coworkers to your house. Don't do that. If they want to come over, no. If you're friends with one of them, okay, that's different. But don't bring your coworkers to your house. Your coworkers are not your friends. They're just colleagues you work with. Okay? That's it. You don't go over their house. They don't come over your house. Keep it like that. All right? Fellas, don't hit on the coworkers at your job. Don't do it. Don't even give her an innocent compliment saying, oh, that's a beautiful dress. Because she might twist it and say, oh, you were sexually harassing me. And then you out of a job. Don't do that. You understand? What's another do? Like I said, go to conferences. Yeah, you should go to some of the conferences and stuff that you can take back to your school and maybe present to your school. If your principal's up, might want to send you to a conference. You should go to those. I think that's really good. Read as many teacher engagement books. Watch videos. Go into classrooms. Ask questions. Get very curious. Find out what's going on in the practice. Okay? So that's it. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to put it down there in my videos and give us some likes if you do. If you don't like it, hey, I'm open for either way. But what I'm just saying to you guys, I want you to have a good time. Enjoy this practice. Keep your options open. And find also other ways of getting money. Maybe go into real estate part-time, become a sommelier. That's people who make wine and could help restaurants put together the right types of foods with the wines. Or maybe go into technology, do programming, something on the side, because teachers, we don't make a lot of money. Let's be real. Maybe do publishing, do some stock investing, have that open, but keep it open just in case you get laid off or if they do some cuts. But be open. Don't just stick to one district or one school, because those days of working 30 years at one school is over, because they do a lot of changes. They do a lot of switch around. Now, if you stay in the school, you're there for 10 years, count your lucky stars. Okay, count your lucky stars, because stuff changes. There's no such thing as one person being in that school for 40 years. Those days is over with. They don't do that anymore. So have a good time, enjoy your practice, and you take care. All right, God bless. Peace.